Connecting community through business, building relationships, and building Waterloo Region. 570 News proudly presents Business to Business. Here's your host, Glenn Pelletier.
And good afternoon. Welcome to Business to Business, powered by Allstream, the final July installment. And we're doing something a little bit different this afternoon. And we are basically going to be a free associating. By that I mean, this is probably, Ian, correct me if I'm wrong, Ian McLean, President and a Chief Executive Officer of the Greater Kitchener-Waterloo Chamber of Commerce, and his partner, the one and only Greg DeRocher, no relation to Leo that we know of.
No.
President of the Cambridge Chamber of Commerce. And perhaps because we're into the dog days of summer, perhaps because one of us is on vacation at one point during this particular month. One of us has always been on holidays. In this case, it was me. We're basically gonna
we're catching up.
We basically have one guest is what, and is that,
Who's the guest? Well, we're gonna have someone from Allstream.
I think it's Dax Near.
Yeah,
Oh,
Dax
yes.
But yeah, the reason I know it's the dog days of summer is because there's only one person in the studio that has footwear on that without showing their toes. So, and I'll leave that up to people. No, I think today.
By the way, I'd like to point out, I'm not wearing Crocs. Lest anyone believe I'm actually wearing Crocs. Greg and I are wearing sandals, but God forbid we wear.
It's a beautiful summer day. No, but I think we wanted to
They
talk.
look terrible on camera, by the way.
They do.
Crocs look terrible.
Well, that's why we keep them under the desk for the webcast.
But these are the dog days of summer, so to speak. But
Absolutely.
there's been so much going on.
Yeah.
Over the last little while.
Well, and most importantly, Greg just got back from Oklahoma City and the American Chamber of Commerce Executive Conference, and learned a bunch from other chambers across the U.S. about how we can be talking about issues that are important to business and serve our members because we do both of those things. So we'll talk about that a bunch today.
So is this an annual convention they have, Greg?
Absolutely.
The American Chamber of Commerce?
It's the American.
Is that the actual term for it? The American Chamber of Commerce, and then
the American Chamber of Commerce Executives. It's a huge organization. They have about 1,700 members, but there's about 900. I think this was actually their largest conference with 900 attendees, and that's chamber staff from all over the place. This was the largest delegation of Canadian chamber staff that we've ever had. We had 22 chamber folks from Canada represented this year. But it's basically a forum where we get together and we learn best practices on how to better leverage the programmability that we have to deliver to the advantage of our members. So, and helping them do what they need to do every single day. But what's interesting is more and more is coming to light about globalization. We're in a very small world now where you can manufacture a widget from just about anywhere and then, and transport it anywhere else around the world. Your consumer base has now just exploded. There are no more Canadian consumers. It's global consumers for every single product that's manufactured. So, it's really interesting to sit down and talk to a number of individuals, some chambers who just don't have the wherewithal, but need to find the ability to be able to reach out on behalf of their small and medium-sized enterprises. Because what's really sad to note is that only about 8% of small to medium-sized enterprises are actually doing business globally or internationally. And because of the small world thinking now, they need to really open up their doors and minds to exploring other areas of the world where they can do their business. So that was really quite evident this year at the conference, where because of the social media, because of the communications ability, but again because of the fact that small businesses need to look outside. They need to get away from saying, well, my supply chain is just here in my geographical area. They need to understand that there are competitors to theirs all over the place looking to take them.
It's like in broadcast journalism. If you have a telephone and a computer and internet access, no matter which radio station you happen to be working for, it's a level playing field. And each and every day, 570 News, we place email, we place emails and telephone calls around the world. We can go after the same people as any other broadcast outlet, including CNN and the major networks.
Well, Joe Patio, Joe was just in here finishing his show and saying he's just done an interview with around the Mandela birthday and the issues around Nelson Mandela and someone in South Africa. So he's doing those stories because those are of importance to this community.
There really
as well.
are no barriers. I'm just using that as an analogy.
Yeah.
Oh, there really aren't. The only barriers are the ability to be able to extend that reach. And what's interesting, I made an announcement at the end of the session. The American Chamber executives asked me to MC the closing plenary session. And part of the reason was because in 2015, the American Chamber of Commerce Executive Convention that I was just at is going to be in Montreal, Quebec. So ACCE wants to demonstrate to its membership that it's extending out beyond the borders, that it's now going to have a convention outside of the United States. There's two reasons for that, to demonstrate that, but to also look at, they would like to harmonize and bring together a North American Chamber of Commerce Executives program. But what's interesting is I met dozens of Americans who don't have a passport. I'm not sure I know a Canadian that doesn't have a passport, but dozens and dozens and dozens of them in the chamber world who we do a lot of traveling, but they don't seem to have a passport. And one, Mick Fleming, the American Chamber Executives president, was in a session and he made kind of a funny comment. He said Americans think that going from New York State to Ohio State is international trade. So they don't they don't need the passport to go there. So they just don't recognize that. And he actually, I think to some degree, looked at that and said that, even Canadians are beating up on us in the United States because, they're recognizing more and more that global trade is important, that looking outside beyond their borders is critically important to all industry. And if the Chamber of Commerce in a particular community is truly going to be leading business, then it needs to be demonstrating that and creating the connections outside of its community.
I would imagine that for some businesses, small to medium, in this community or others like it, that dealing globally is kind of a daunting, seemingly a daunting task. Where do businesses get help and advice on how to expand their reach?
Well, that's kind of what we want to talk about today. Is coming out of the American Chamber of Commerce conference that Greg was at. But if you look at all the issues that are even top of mind from a news perspective, whether it's the Keystone Pipeline or other issues, those are all business issues that are affecting us as it relates to Canada and the U.S. So I think what we find is it is instructive that you have many chamber executives that do not have a passport. They don't understand how the thickening border affects the trade that goes back and forth. And it's not just us; we're their largest trade partner as well.
Yeah.
We are their largest partner. Yeah. We are their largest trading partner as well. So it's hundreds and hundreds and billions of dollars every month, and it affects their economy as much as it does ours. So, I think it is going to be, one of the things that I wanted to drill down a little bit when we come back is talk about what you learned at those events, because we have a Canadian Chambers executive that is part of our Canadian Chamber of Commerce, an Ontario version of that. But I think what we're trying to highlight is, as a region, we know that we trade with the U.S., but we're an international destination. We're competing right around the world. Mm-hmm. And so between our executives of raising the issues that are important to business, and it doesn't matter where you go in the world, small and medium-sized enterprise is what drives every economy across the entire world. So what we need to be doing is saying, not only for our members, but talking about the issues that are important for business at large. And we often say, membership's important because we can't do this without our members, but we speak for all of business because we if you're not a member of our Chamber of Commerce or Greg's, we hope you are someday, but we need to be building and raising the issues that are important to help business be successful, so not only here but across the world.
Could a small business owner call your office, either one of your offices, and say, look, I heard you guys talking today on the show. Well, can you help me?
Absolutely.
Can you help me expand my global reach? How do I enter those markets?
Yeah. I had a small business in Cambridge, automation company. They were strengthening their relationships in the United States. They already had some customers down there, but they needed to locate down there because the volume of business that they were attracting was getting greater and greater and greater. So immediately he called me. He said, Greg, do you know anybody in the Durham Raleigh area? And I said, absolutely, I do. And I got on the phone and phoned my colleague at the Durham Regional Chamber of Commerce, who also happens to do economic development. Talked to her for a few minutes, and she immediately made contact that afternoon with our local company, and they're in the process right now of securing site down there where they're going to be manufacturing or doing their business in the United States. And it wouldn't have happened, because he had been down there several times and really couldn't get any traction because he didn't know who to see or how to do it. We've put him in touch with the individuals that actually put those programs together and sped things up, and he's more than happy that this is happening.
You're listening to Business on 570 News, powered by Allstream, and we're being web streamed as we are each and every Sunday at 570news.com. Candace Cobbing is our producer, and the web stream producer is Catherine Drake. We're in studio with Ian McLean, president of the Greater KW Chamber of Commerce, and Greg DeRocher, president of the Cambridge Chamber of Commerce. We're going to come back and talk more about the American Chamber of Commerce Executives meeting that Greg attended. Where was that, by the way?
Oklahoma City.
Oh, you mentioned that, Oklahoma City. Okay, we're coming back with more. This is Business to Business on 570 News.
We'll be right back with more Business to Business, powered by Allstream. Call in with your questions at star 570 570-2545 or 1-800-570-5715. It's not just what you know, it's who you know. Connecting community through business. This is Business to Business on 570 News, powered by Allstream. All local, all relevant, allstream.com. Here's your host, Glenn Pelletier.
And welcome back to Business on 570 News, powered by Allstream. Joined in studio, as always, by Greg DeRocher, president of the Cambridge Chamber of Commerce, and Ian McLean, president of the Greater KW Chamber of Commerce, talking about Greg's recent visit in Oklahoma City at the American Chamber of Commerce Executive meeting, and the importance that was stressed during that convention about global trade, global business dealings. And how, regardless of the size of your particular business or where it's located, there's a customer base that extends far beyond your immediate environs, and those customers are waiting to be had. Mm-hmm. It's wide open.
Yeah, what was really interesting was there was one individual that had met the president and CEO of the Mobile, Alabama Chamber of Commerce, and I guess it's maybe not something that would kind of stick into my head as this really industrious area. It's actually a port. And the port was being underutilized for years and years and years. And the chamber, of course, they had a pretty traumatic event through Katrina, but and they needed to do some rebuilding. But it was interesting when the Chamber of Commerce kind of took a look at this and said, well, what we need to do is create more port activity. How do we do that? Well, how they do that is they needed to get very large industries into their area. Because very large industries need to transport their products, generally by sea, somewhere in the world. And so they actually went on a mission and 7 years ago started this outreach, this global outreach. And with an investment over the last 7 years of about $4.2 million, they've generated over $1.2 billion in economic growth and activity into there. And, there were a number of very interesting, little side things that happened. They just landed recently, actually, Boeing to build, I think one of their new product lines that they're coming in, one of their new planes that are coming out. But it was actually as a result of connecting with Boeing in Sydney, Australia. And the president and CEO talks about having not the opportunity, but the need, because he saw that they were looking around. They were looking for a place in the United States to build this new plane. He actually flew to Sydney for a 4-hour meeting, and it took him, of course, 48 hours to do that. But he flew there and had one meeting, and his one meeting with this individual was very interesting. And what he did was he didn't encourage him to locate there. He didn't, he said, obviously, we would love to have you in Mobile, Alabama, but boy, that's almost a tough sell on the surface of things. But what he asked him for was a list of all their contacts of suppliers for various needs that that Boeing itself would have or would need for that type of manufacturing facility. And they granted him that, and they gave him the list, and then he came back and from his office in Mobile, Alabama, started to work that list and to attract the suppliers of Boeing into the area and to utilize their cargo services out of their port. And that's in the end, it took about 3 years to do that, but that's in the end what really turned Boeing's eyes to Mobile, Alabama, and ended up building a plant there. $760 million investment.
Well, you know what strikes me about that is, I mean, what you're talking about is that's a different way or an approach to economic development. They obviously had their own unique issues around coming out of Katrina and need to rebuild. But there are some universal things and I'm interested to hear what came out of the conference that you in Oklahoma City is. Chambers are, we do similar things. Advocate with other levels of government, provincially, nationally, internationally, for issues that are important to business. Membership and how we satisfy our members and have programs that serve them. We do do networking, and it strikes me that the connections and networking are doesn't matter on what issue. That's the core of what chambers do. So what are some of the things that came out? Because that's what I'm always interested in when we go to the Ontario Chamber, the Canadian Chamber, and when you come back from these conferences, you're always struck by there's one or two innovative things that someone else is doing that you say, boy, we better be doing that here in Cambridge or the Greater KW Chamber, the Cambridge. We should be doing that because it serves members and business well. So what are the couple of things that struck you on that front?
I think it was evidenced almost by the number of sessions that were dedicated to technology and communications, and that to me kind of expressed the message that what we need to do as chambers of commerce, and not about touting ourselves and what we do, and all the wonderful things that we maybe we had 800 at our last program or event. That's not the issue. The issue is communicating the relevant things and making sure that we have embraced our membership to communicate on behalf of ourselves as well to their contacts, because it's about now with communications and technology. You got Twitter, you got Pinterest, you got Facebook, you got LinkedIn, you got all of these avenues that if they're worked in the right manner, you can get a message out that's very keenly important to business in your geographical jurisdiction, but also extend beyond that. And I think at that point, really what it came to be was that we as chambers of commerce need to work very hard to create the network, the keen network and working ability with other chambers of commerce, certainly in North America, but probably internationally as well. It's easier for us to do it nationally or internationally with the United States than it is abroad where there's language barriers. But, I think what our membership needs to understand is that at any time they can call on Ian McLean, the President and CEO of the Greater KW Chamber of Commerce, to connect with individuals that they would need to connect with to do business anywhere in the world. Because you, Ian, can pick up the phone or jump on an email list of contacts that you have, connect with other chambers of commerce who also have contacts that particular member you have would like to be introduced to. And when you create that, it's that almost that universal family thing with chambers of commerce. It's interesting walking into a building and someone coming up to you that you've never met or heard of before, but is the CEO of the Long Beach Chamber of Commerce in California, and instantly having that that personal bond because you work with business and you're both trying to do the same thing to enhance the quality of your membership through business connections.
You see, one of the things that came out of, and I guess it was probably 2 years ago, because we've been working this program now. You came back and said, "Boy, there's a travel program," and we got talking about wasn't just to go for business folks to go on a trip to kind of get away.
Yeah.
But we call them working vacations because it allows people to say, "I know I should be doing international trade or should be open to that." But boy, how do I get started in China? Or
Don't
India?
understand the culture.
So, and one of the things, and you brought this back, and we said we should be developing this program, and it's become a good program for us. And we jointly run travel programs. It's another one of the things that we work on together. And I don't know, I mean, just off the top of my head, I know we've had trips, and you started this, but we've joined now India, China. We've been to, you're putting one to Dubai. We've got
Ireland.
Ireland. We got coming up. We're talking about Czechoslovakia and some of the Eastern Bloc, or what was the Eastern Bloc in the European Union, going back to China. So we're finding places where people are saying, I'd like to go there, and I'm thinking about business. I mean, now you see the opportunities in Ireland. You see the reports this weekend that they've turned a corner. They're starting to seek out investment. People are now starting to invest there again. So there
were actually two Irish chambers of commerce at the ACCE conference this year, looking to make connections in the United States. There was one from Russia. There was one from Oslo, Norway.
But
they're trying to make connections.
That travel program is one of the vehicles.
Absolutely.
And you talk about technology and communications and saying, but the travel program of physically being able to go there, using the technology through social media and other, and then the connections and contacts, which is probably the most vibrant part, or the most impressive part of what the chamber world and the chamber family can do. But I mean, that strikes me as being, of the things you've mentioned, those are the types of practical programs that come out that we're running for our members here to say, China, if you kind of said, I think you should go and do business in China because that's the way to grow your market. Everyone kind of you kind of close your eyes in the fetal position in the corner of your office going, well, how do I get started? I don't have, well, boy, here's a way to make the world smaller. And we've got people that have experienced those trips, and now we have more experience of some of our own chamber board members. My staff have been on those, and being able to help people say, well, here's who you need to get connected with. And
it's interesting. I had a great conversation also with our colleague Dave Angus from the Winnipeg Chamber, who was there. He wants to work together on a program that sends a delegation to Israel. There's great opportunities for high tech, especially doing international business in Israel, and he would like to put a package together where our region, our two chambers, along with the Winnipeg Chamber, can meet up in Toronto and go to Israel and actually do some business. Sit down, for 2 or 3 days at least with the consulate down there and some of the business types in Tel Aviv to think about where we can go. We have Dubai coming up, which is and you folks are going to do Dubai as well. I understand Abu Dhabi and Dubai. There's incredible opportunities there. Just absolutely, their doors are literally wide open.
And I think the important part for as people to understand is it's not just oil. I mean, there's all kinds of things. It's every segment of they need, especially in the developing world and places like that, they have need for all the things we've already developed because they want to diversify. Their
What's
own
really
economy.
interesting,
they have the largest indoor ski hill.
Yes, they do.
What's really interesting?
Cost to power that thing, but they don't seem to care.
They don't care because
the GDP.
However,
GDP in Dubai.
This is very interesting. Only 5% of the economy in Dubai or in the United Arab Emirates comes from oil. 5%. They're virtually out of oil, but they've created this virtual economy around finance and commerce and tourism. But they're looking to broaden that. They want to bring industry there. And I've got two members of mine who are interested in going down there. I've already spoke to Jerome, the president and CEO of the Dubai Chamber of Commerce. He's going to connect them with individuals down there that will lay out the pattern on how they can do business in Dubai or the United Arab Emirates.
And I've been invited by the Namibian government to try and get some local businesses to go to Namibia, which is in Western Africa. And well, you know what? They're big into mining. They're big into processing, agriculture, all things that we're doing here, and they're looking for investment and cross pollination of economies.
Right.
So
we're going to come back with more as Business to Business continues. This segment of Business to Business brought to you by Save on Energy, offered by your local electric utilities. This is Business to Business on 570 News.
Business to Business, powered by Allstream, a presentation of 570 News. Watch the live video webcast at 570news.com. We'll return with more Business to Business. It's not just what you know, it's who you know. Connecting community through business. This is Business to Business on 570 News. Powered by Allstream. All local, all relevant. Allstream.com. Here's your host, Glenn Pelletier.
Welcome back to Business on 570 News, brought to you by Save on Energy, this segment, offered by your local electric utilities. Ian McLean, president of the Greater KW Chamber of Commerce, and Greg DeRocher, president of the Cambridge Chamber of Commerce, joining us in the studio. And gentlemen, it is summer, and for many businesses, the people have gone fishing, so to speak. But there's always a lot going on. Business never sleeps, and there's a fun side to it. You've got your golf tournament coming up. But another important event coming up in September. Yeah. The golf tournament is what? That's in August?
August 12th. And, summertime is sort of strange for us. I mean, our staff all take some vacation, well-deserved, because we really do run almost 10 months a year now with different chamber events and our peer-to-peer and our learning and education networking events. But we do a lot of our planning for the next, what we would call, because we're almost like the school calendar now. The real start of our year is September 1st when or after Labor Day. So we do all our planning and set our programming up for the next year. But August 12th is probably our last major event of the summer, and we have our golf tournament. And remarkably enough, it speaks to broadening out and bringing the region together. We're actually having our golf tournament at, wait for it, Galt Country Club. So we're actually crossing the 401.
Great track, I hear.
It's a great track, and so we'll have 144 golfers. We're almost sold. I think we got one or two foursomes left, but there's still room for folks to. And some people just come for the dinner because it's a great networking evening after the golf.
Beautiful,
and
clubhouse.
It's a beautiful clubhouse.
Oh my goodness.
Great opportunity to sort of connect with all kinds of different businesses across the region.
So if how many spaces have you got left?
I think we've got two foursomes left, but there's a waiting list, and but there's also as I say, opportunity to come for the dinner only. So just go to our chamber website and look at that.
And that's greaterkwchamber.com. Greaterkwchamber.com. August 12th, the annual tournament. And then in September.
September we've got two events that Greg and I have to varying degrees. Our two chambers are working on, which are really important and big events. First is our Inspiring Women's Conference in September. I think it's September 19th. The Small Business Center of Waterloo Region, which covers Kitchener-Waterloo and Cambridge, as well as townships. Is our co-presenter along with the Greater KW Chamber, and Cambridge is helping to promote this. And it is an opportunity, and we've had in the past 500, 600, 700 professional women, business women, hear speakers of a variety of different on a variety of different topics. So this year we're pleased to have Jeannie Becker, who many will know from a variety of different things, whether it's fashion or music. She's been an executive and businesswoman in her own right. So she's headlining our event on September the 19th, and we expect to have a great turnout of 500, 600, 700, probably more close to 600 or 700 folks this year. And then in November we have our annual business expo. Which is we've just settled on the date. It's moved around a little bit just because things get so busy. But November 18th, our business expo, we'll have a trade show or business expo with 125, 150 businesses exhibiting. This year we've been trying to bring that networking and as well as the education part in. And one of the things we're doing is we're getting some of those government programs that serve small business. So we're having Federal Development Agency of Southern Ontario, Business Development Bank. Many of the programs where small, medium-sized business can access grants or different funds to help them grow and improve their business. So they'll be doing little presentations through that 4-hour trade show, and it's a great opportunity for business to understand the programs that are there to help them.
And just getting back to Inspiring Women, the 7th annual, you mentioned Jeannie Becker. But also, this is a star-studded lineup of you've got Kristen McGee from Sleep Country Canada, and the CEO of Linda Hassenfratz. That's a good lineup.
We've got a young Paralympian who's going to talk about her journey, so to speak. So I think we've got a great lineup of 5 or 6 speakers. Mm-hmm. It's a great full day. We've lowered the price, and one of the reasons they wanted to bring us in is to lower the price, be able to broaden it out, and have more small and medium-sized business folks. Mm-hmm. So for a full day event, I think it's $99. So it's a great opportunity to sort of be inspired by many of their peers.
And just go to the website for tickets. It's greaterkwchamber.com, greaterkwchamber.com for tickets for Inspiring Women, the 7th annual event.
And we have a really busy fall coming up, but we've got a very exciting program launching actually August the 1st. Chamber University, chamberuniversity.ca. It's a fully online certification learning, e-learning program. We're very excited about it. when it launches, of course, August the 1st, it won't have all of the catalog up, as we've partnered with an organization out of the U.S. called Global Classroom. And but throughout the month of August and September, Microsoft training programs will be coming on through Skillsoft. Skillsoft is widely recognized as a Microsoft and IT certification programs. These are incredibly well priced, and it's everything from, learn how to effectively use your LinkedIn account all the way through to Emily Post etiquette programs. So if you are going to do international business, there's etiquette programs on there on how you deal in foreign countries, how you do business in foreign countries. It's going to be a fantastic program, and we're very excited for that launch on August the 1st, and that's chamberuniversity.ca. We also have a program for nonprofits. September is our we call it Salute to Associations, where we try and build a program around nonprofits and charities in our community. So we've got a 6-part series coming up for nonprofits and staff and board members. The ABCs of board development on September the 12th. Effective team building, September the 26th. Effective communication and conflict resolution in the workplace on October the 10th, and developing a strategic plan and why organizations need to do so on October the 24th. Human resource management on November the 14th, and promoting your not-for-profit organization on November the 28th. So we've had to extend it because of the number of programs that we felt getting feedback from a lot of the nonprofits and charities in our community, what they wanted to see.
You know what's interesting? I was meeting with someone on Friday, and the number of not-for-profits, associations, and that would fall into that charitable not-for-profit, over 2,000 of them in the region of Waterloo.
It's amazing.
And for us, I mean, I think both of us would say, in the chamber world, we have one of the highest concentrations of not-for-profits that belong to our chamber, and we have a little special rate for them because they want to connect with business. They're part of the community. They rely on the support of the business community, but also individuals. But I found that, I didn't realize it was that many. I know we have a lot in ours, and you do, and we do a lot of the programs similar to that, where we're saying, how do we support those?
They're critically important.
Right.
We also on September the 17th, you can have breakfast with Gary Dyke, the new CAO for the city of Cambridge.
Nice.
He's going to be very interesting. And on October 10th, our Salute to Small Business, we've got Barry Moltz, author of Small Town Rules, incredible program. This guy's a great guy.
All right, and you can find it all at the website, cambridgechamber.com. That's www.cambridgechamber.com. This segment of Business to Business brought to you by Save On Energy, offered by your local electric utilities. We're going to come back with more. Our All-Stream segment is next as Business to Business continues on 570 News.
We'll be right back with more Business to Business, powered by Allstream. Call in with your questions at star 570 570 2545 or 1-800-570-5750. It's not just what you know, it's who you know. Connecting community through business. This is Business to Business on 570 News, powered by Allstream. All local, all relevant, allstream.com. Here's your host, Glenn Pelletier.
Welcome back to Business on 570 News, powered by Allstream. And joining us now is Vito Mangialardi. He is the director of the Business Continuity Management Program at Allstream. Welcome, Vito.
Good morning.
Well, Vito, given the recent flooding in Alberta, how can business learn from those types of events to be prepared for the unexpected?
Well, there are two ways that businesses can be prepared for the unexpected. One is business continuity planning, which is process-centric, and the other is disaster recovery planning for your technology or IT production environments. Business continuity is the activity performed by an organization to ensure that critical business functions and deliverables to customers is preserved at time of disaster or emergency. Disaster recovery, sometimes known as DR, is the process, policies, and procedures related to preparing for the recovery or continuation of technology infrastructure that's critical to most organizations after a natural or human-induced disaster. Proactive planning, mitigation by design I like to call it, utilizes redundancy and diversity strategies to promote continuity of your business at time of disaster. For example, if your office is not there, where does your workforce go? Your applications fail, What's the backup plan? If your staff don't show up for work for whatever reason, how do you keep your business running? You can't predict an emergency, but you can sure plan for one.
So do businesses and companies, especially small business, really need a business continuity plan?
I'm sorry, I did not hear your question.
So do companies really need a business continuity plan? Hello?
Well, I'm glad you asked that question, because we are all moving to the reliance of dependency on automation, technology, and our relationships with partners, vendors, and suppliers are around the clock. We're moving to e-business models, increased data storage, and our customer expectations are through the roof. This evolution is constantly tested by business threats, including cyber attacks, terrorism, extreme weather, earthquakes, and so forth. And we saw this clearly in Calgary with the recent flooding. When these incidents occur and disrupt our flow of businesses, companies can expect to have their brand and reputation negatively impacted. And this could be has a very direct impact to the bottom line, not to mention your relative position in the marketplace.
Okay, so tell us, how does telecommunications play a role in business continuity?
As your business requirements change, so should the requirements that customers have on their networks. As customers evolve, so should their business continuity plans. The amount of change to the network is dependent on how dynamic the business needs are. If your business is dependent on telecom, you must consider the following. Understand your business communication requirements. Talk to your telecom service provider about their network resiliency or diversity status. Focus on services required, not so much the technology. And I also like to think about build it or buy it right culture. If telecom is vital to your business survival, you should consider redundant, diverse, private, or high availability networks to meet your continuity needs.
Our guest is Vito Mangialardi. He is the director of the Business Continuity Management Program at Allstream, in conversation with Ian McLean.
So what solutions does Allstream offer to your customers in terms of business continuity planning?
Firstly, I do consult with businesses and provide a business continuity plan that includes the network side of the business. Allstream also offers a host of solutions to meet customer-specific requirements that are flexible, scalable, and cost-effective, tailored to meet the needs of any organization within any industry, because we all rely on telecom. We offer fully managed BCP and DR facilities for clients with Allstream networks and support for a broad range of systems, including Intel, mainframes, distributed systems, IBM Z-Series, Unix, and almost every brand of server. Cloud replication is one of the most cost-effective solutions we offer. Virtually replicated business continuity service ensures that critical applications are always available to end users. Designed for small to medium-sized businesses, it delivers real-time, continuous availability without the need to purchase, manage, or maintain hardware, software, networking, and remote disaster recovery facilities. We don't offer a cookie-cutter approach. Rather, we tailor the solution to the needs of the business in question. We at Allstream are big enough to deliver our solutions, yet small enough to care about all our customers' needs. It's what we do best.
Well, thanks so much. I appreciate it, and we'll look forward to talking to you in the future.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Vito. Our guest has been Vito Mangialardi, director of the Business Continuity Management Program at Allstream. And thanks to Vito. Grazie, Vito. All right, Greg, a couple of minutes to go.
Just one really quick thing, too. On November the 12th, the Cambridge Chamber is going to do their first community awards at the Dunfield Theatre. Again, as we talked about with the nonprofits and charities, we wanted to do a community-wide recognition of those who do a lot in our community. And these are our community awards based on nonprofits, charities, service clubs, whatever. And so we're looking for nominations right now, and they can see them at cambridgechamber.com. So get on and nominate someone who does some great stuff in our community.
All right, Ian?
Yeah, no, and just listening to some of the things that Greg and the Cambridge Chamber are doing, we're launching a webinar series with a lot more of online content around things that business will need, and we're hoping to work with Desire to Learn to make sure we have a robust opportunity for people to be online and connect online. But, we were talking about the software before. I mean, there's the online and the social media, but there's nothing that substitutes for actually coming out and connecting and doing the networking that way. So We'll have a full lineup. Last year we did the count. We had 85 events through the year. We'll probably have more this year. We'll probably have 90 to 95 events. So we're doing something at the KW Chamber about once every couple of days during the business week, and there's lots happening and lots of opportunity to make those connections and help grow your business.
All right, less than a minute to go. We're going to be changing the show slightly going forward, right?
Yeah,
for the better.
And this has been I think we started March of last year, so we've been on for about a year and a half, and it's been a great experience. We the three of us love working together.
570 has doubled our pay.
That's right, double our pay from 0 to 0. but they do want us to go pretty much live every week, and so we're exploring whether we do call-ins, what we do over the next year.
Yeah, we're going to expand the
Do you
scope
think we
of
should
the
do
show.
call-ins, Glenn?
Absolutely.
Love the
You
callers.
guys would be great with callers. That's one thing we're going to be doing. And just expanding the scope of the show.
Yep.
Yeah, it's going to be great. Thanks to Candace Cobbing for producing and Catherine Drake for producing the web stream as well. Blue Jays Baseball is next. And thank you for listening to Business on 570 News.